And hello, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. It is February 14th. We are halfway through the month. Wow, already halfway through the second month. That's hard to believe. And just so everybody knows, I do have new glasses. They have bifocals, so I'll be probably moving my head up and down so I can see a little bit better. So, not being rude or anything, just a new trial. So, bear with me, please, and would like to welcome Diane Bator to the show. She is a mystery writer. Mystery suspense or just mystery?
Actually, cozy mystery.
Okay. So, like to talk to her about her books and anything new coming out in her newest book. So, Diane, let's talk about some of your books.
Absolutely. As I said, I'm a cozy mystery writer. So if anybody doesn't know what that is, think Murder, She Wrote. If you watch TV a lot, there's Monk, who is also a cozy character. So it's all those small town kind of things normally where somebody dies, but you don't necessarily see the whole bloody gruesome mess. You just see the behind the scene and the amateur sleuther who has this reason for solving the mystery.
Ah, sweet. So I've definitely watched both those shows. I'm not going to try to date myself here.
Yeah. I love that they're in reruns, so you don't have to.
Yes. Oh, damn. You had to tell me that after I said that. So, what's your newest book out? And would you say that it's part of like a trilogy or a series or?
My latest one, I'll just hold it up, hopefully, is called Dead Man's Doll, and it's part 2 or book 2 in my Sugarwood Mystery series. I actually have 4 different series on the go. 3 of them are set in the US, and this is my first one set here in Canada. So I'm in Southern Ontario, where it's bright and sunny today. So
No, we had rain this morning, and it's supposed to be sunny.
oh, we're getting rain tomorrow, so it's probably coming our way.
Of course, our high today is 78 Fahrenheit. So, yeah, that's part of the South, like we discussed earlier. So you also have a new one coming out in May?
I do, yeah. I have this great series called Glitter Bay Mysteries, and I shouldn't say I have a favorite, but I guess it's kind of my favorite series. I have a couple of characters in it that I absolutely love to work with, and one of whom is a transgendered woman. And she came out in the first book, which was kind of fun because of the way it all happened. But she is a big part of the rest of this series. She's kind of like the third wheel between the 2 sisters, Lakin and Sage. So book 3, All That Shimmers, comes out in May.
Ah, very nice. Actually kind of looking forward to reading some of these because I do like that type of genre.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so what got you started with writing? What was your biggest inspiration?
It's funny. I've always written. Ever since I was a kid, I've always been a writer, but I was never a mystery writer. It was always just kind of dabbled with everything, poetry and whatever. And it was about 2010, I actually entered, it was called Murder in Ink contest. Mm-hmm. And it was with a small publisher here in Canada. they took one of those old murder mystery party games and gave you all the characters, all the clues. You had to write one chapter in the point of view of each character, which if you're a writer and you want to stretch your brain, that's a great way to do it. And I ended up winning the contest and having my little novella published. And I went, wow, if I can do that, I can write a whole mystery. So here we are. Right now, 14 books are published, and the 15th is on the way in May. So
That's a lot of books.
it's a lot of books. It's a lot of words.
Yes, it is. Now, do you try to come out with something new yearly, or how do you every 6 months, every year, every
Um,
other year?
it kind of depends on the year. I've had years where I've had 2 or 3, and I had one year there was 4 because of I had a different publisher at one point who ended up giving back my books, and I did a really good re-edit of the whole series and ended up my current publisher is here in Canada, so it's BWL Publishing out of Alberta.
Mhm.
And they said, yeah, we'll be happy to take them. So I did the re-edit, we recovered the whole bit, and I had one come out kind of every 2 months until November when the newest one came out. So it was a very busy year, but I'm glad they're all still out in the market and people are enjoying them.
Well, from what I understand, you keep very busy as well because you're also what's the word I should be using? Playwright? Is that the proper word?
I've dabbled. I have written one play. It hasn't gone anywhere yet because I think that was last year, so it takes time. So yeah, I'm a playwright. I actually my day job is in professional theater. So I have kind of that inspiration.
So, work in theater, is that more, do you do any acting or is it just more of the writing?
Just on podcasts.
Okay, just on podcast.
No, I actually work in a box office, so I sell tickets, I do all kinds of stuff, but I get to read a lot of scripts. So it was kind of inspiring that way that I get to read the scripts and see the final product on stage, and then sat down and went, I can do that. If I can write a book, I can write a play. So
That actually sounds kind of exciting. I know there is a complete difference in the type of writing. So
yeah.
We've had people on to discuss that, and it's very difficult actually.
Yeah.
Because I've tried my hand, and I just can't do it. From being novel to screenwrite because I like the details.
See, and my strength is dialogue. Like a lot of times when I'm writing anything, if I only have 15 minutes, I can write all the dialogue and then I can go back later and fill in the details. But for me, it's the dialogue usually is what comes first.
So, with all this being said, would you say that you're a planner or a pantser?
Kind of a plantser, kind of a little bit of a crossbreed. I don't completely plan everything out, but there are certain parts of things that I do plan. I don't necessarily write it down and have everything in full detail. I have done that with a couple of books, which it's worked out. It works out fine when you're doing something like NaNoWriMo and you're trying to keep your story moving for 30 days. You have to keep writing and writing and writing. 50,000 words in 30 days is a bit of a stretch, but I've done it a couple of times, and that's how I came out with a couple of my books. So
I will say that is hard.
Yeah.
I've actually tried planning once, and I ended up by chapter 3 just ripping up the outline and saying, no, this ain't going to happen this way.
That's about how far I usually get to.
Like, nope, characters had a completely different path that they wanted to take.
Right. Those characters. Oh my gosh. I've had one, my first series, my Wild Blue Mysteries. As I'm writing the first book, there was a character that would not leave me alone. Mm-hmm. He had to be in the book. fine, you're the sidekick. No, I don't want to be the sidekick. So book 2 is his story.
Yes, they do speak to you up here. People don't realize that, but they do.
I know. And you tell people that and they are like, okay, I'll just be over here. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, especially when you're in line at Starbucks and you start talking back to them.
I know. Sometimes you forget to use that inside voice, don't you?
Yes. It's like, oh, damn, these people think I'm really out there now.
Yeah, that's okay. Most people I know pretty much know that I write. So if I suddenly go, wait a second, I got to write something down or talk something out, then they're usually like, okay.
Yeah, I think I just go to many different Starbucks because it's like, well, let's see how I can ruin these people's day. or I guess the proper wording should be, how can I make these people's day more interesting? And then you see all eyes stared on you.
Right? Yeah. You just kind of go, yeah.
And then you act like you have a Bluetooth in.
Yes. Yep. You just.
Uh-huh. And then you uncover it and there's nothing there and you're like, oh my God.
Do we need to call somebody?
You know, we should do a whole segment on how to really mess with people's brain as
Oh. Oh my goodness. That would be so much fun.
Oh, for sure. Well, do you do any, people know me for Comic Cons and stuff like that. Do you do any signings around the area or?
I've done a few, but it's kind of difficult sometimes, especially working full time, and the theater season and the event season at least kind of work together, because a lot of the events that I would do would be more in the summertime and stuff, which I can travel a little more easily, but theater season and where I'm at is all through the fall and winter. So it kind of works out, but it's also difficult for me. I live in a small town. I'm outside of the big city, so I can't get to some of the bigger ones when I want to. So
it can be hard.
Yeah.
There's no lie about that. It can be very hard.
Yeah, and some of them are pretty expensive. Like,
yes,
having to fly, stay in a hotel, even pay for a conference is just
yes.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that.
Yeah.
They
like, don't understand you're not making millions off your books.
No, we're not.
No.
Definitely not. So can people get a signed book from you if they go to a website or anything like that?
Absolutely. You can go to my website. It's dianebator.ca, and you can order my books. There's different, I'm on Kobo, I'm on Amazon, I'm on Smashwords. What's the other one? Barnes and Noble. There's a whole bunch of places you can find my books. They're not so much in the brick and mortar bookstores, but they are all online, and you can get them paperback or ebook. So
very nice. But I do want to thank you for being on.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun.
Yes. And I do want to tell people again, happy Valentine's Day. It is February 14th. We are halfway through the month. February is going by pretty quick. So it'll be March here before we know it.
Right. And hopefully spring.
I think we might be getting that already. But of course, the weather changes here daily. So
yeah. I remember being on the phone with somebody one day and it literally was changing by the hour. So, you know.
Yeah, winter at night, summer in the afternoon.
For about an hour and a half, and then we're good.
So you have spring and then fall in between.
All through the day.
Yes.
It's all good.
All 4 seasons, one day. But again, everybody, we will not have another show until next week, and it will be next Tuesday with 2 Con-Versations. And then the following Saturday, we have Black Hills Comic Con coming on the show to talk about their show coming up in June. So until everybody then, adios.